Been thinking about a career in radio? Do what I did and check out the Connecticut School of Broadcasting in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Hi, this is Toxic Mike, owner and on-air personality here at Toxic Radio, and a proud graduate of Connecticut School of Broadcasting in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. The internet and social media have revolutionized the radio industry, and it shows more with Toxic Radio than anywhere else. Connecticut School of Broadcasting can provide the hands-on training you need to start a career in broadcast media. CSB has placed thousands of grads in exciting careers, from radio to television to sports broadcasting. They've been around for 50 years, so you know what that means. Connections, connections, connections. And in this business, connections are key. So call 1-800-TV-RADIO. Start your road to a career in broadcasting today. Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really. Aww. But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Welcome to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I am your host, Gene Walzak, and to my right, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Scholastic Shally, Bill Shallcross. To my left, I got Kent State's own College Cottrell, Cleveland's own, rocking that UCLA too today. Liking it. We got a ton of stuff to go over. I want to make a merch announcement before we start anything. Merch we picked up. If you ordered your merch the first Friday, we were a week behind because of the snow, because of the mail, all that jazz. But we will have everything picked up this Friday. We'll start delivering to everybody. So merch will be available this Friday for me to pick up. I'm taking off of work, and I'm coming out and delivering it as much as I can. And I'll be giving some to Bill and some to Cottrell to deliver, and then we'll be mailing out the ones we need to mail out. But it'll be this Friday. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, obviously. After the Super Bowl, we're going to talk about college hoops for the first time. We have baseball, great big trade with Arenado. Phillies re-signing Didi. How you guys feeling tonight?
Feel good.
Good. This is the Super Bowl show, guys.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. So we got to get started with the Super Bowl. So let's get started with some Super Bowl action. Big shout out to my man Snowman for putting together the graphics for the show so much. But that was actually pretty tight. We get ready for Super Bowl 55. You guys ready? So first thoughts on the game. Are you happy about the game? Are you happy where we got? Are you happy that we have the GOAT versus the baby GOAT? What do you think, Bill?
I am. I think everybody wanted one of two matchups. They wanted Mahomes versus Rodgers, or they wanted this. I think New Orleans, a lot of people wanted that because they thought it was going to be a good game, kind of a sentimental thing with Drew Brees as well. But I think it's going to be a really good game. I don't think you can argue that these are the two best, probably all-around teams that got here. I know everybody was a little...
I will. I'll argue that.
That's fine. You can. But, the fact is they're there because they beat Green Bay. So, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a very good game. I know a lot of people think it's going to be close. A lot of people think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to go into the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be a very intriguing game. I think there's a lot of subplots going on. There's a lot of factors that are going to determine how this plays out. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to see if Tom can get 7. It's just insanity to think in our lifetime anybody was ever going to win 7 Super Bowls.
Tom is insane. Obviously everything going on with the Chiefs, the Buccaneers. You said something that you said I don't think anybody can argue that the best two teams are there. I don't agree. Listen, in the NFL, it doesn't always mean you're the best football team if you make the Super Bowl. It means you're playing the best at that moment. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won 2 football games in which I watched the entire game, and I came away from those games saying they won the football game, but I don't feel like they're the better football team. New Orleans kicked the shit out of them once, beat them twice. Them beating New Orleans, Drew Brees' arm not being 100%. Yeah, okay. Then they go into Green Bay. They play Green Bay up there, and I really think a lot of self-inflicted wounds, bad coaching, and a key injury at left tackle really hurt Green Bay. I don't look at Tampa Bay as a better football team than Green Bay. They're going to go and play another game, and they get a home game at this point. They went on the road 3 straight games. They get a home game at this point to play against Kansas City. And Kansas City, I don't think anybody would argue that they're the best team in football. Control, what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl coming up?
I mean, it's interesting that we've already seen this matchup, and it'll be nice to see what teams make the adjustments from the first game. We saw Tyreek Hill have over 200 yards in the first quarter of the first matchup. We'll see how Tampa Bay can rebound from that and what matchups they have going for that. To your point, though, I'm with you. I don't think these are the 2 best teams, and Kansas City is the best team in the AFC. But I'm right there with you. I think it would have been Green Bay to see come out of the NFC, and I would have rather seen that matchup between Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes. But all in all, I still think this is going to be a great Super Bowl. I have a feeling that Tom Brady is going to come out. They're going to come out fast. We see the Chiefs start off slow pretty much every playoff game, so I can easily see the Bucks going up 10-0. And then, boom, Patrick Mahomes responds. Next thing you know, it's a 14-10 game. Chiefs are up. So
sounds like you're talking about Chiefs Bills.
I think it's gonna be like really, it's gonna be really fun to watch, and we'll see who gets the last laugh.
So, all right, when I break down this football game, we're gonna do a lot of breaking down. I got a lot of prop bets for you guys out there. When I break down this football game, the one part that scares me on the Tampa Bay side of the ball, the biggest matchup I look for, and I'll ask you guys for what your matchup you're looking for in a minute. But the matchup that scares me the most, if I'm a Chiefs fan, the most intriguing matchup is that front 4 of Tampa Bay with Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, JPP versus that beat-up offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid has a history of taking offensive linemen in the 6th, 7th round and grooming them. So we're really going to find out what they end up doing, these backup offensive linemen versus arguably the best front 4 in football. That matchup intrigues me. And that with Eric Fisher's injury, a bunch of injuries on the Chiefs' offensive line, that matchup worries me. Outside of that, what's a matchup that you look at and you think is a key matchup in this football game? Because I have another one for if I'm a Bucs fan, what worries me. But let me just give you my, if I'm a Chiefs fan, this one worries me. Which one are you looking at?
That was number one for me, because I do think that has the potential to affect the game the most. If they can get to Patrick, if they can hit him, God forbid they force a fumble or an interception or anything like that. Number 2 for me, believe it or not, is I think it matters who plays better between Mahomes and Brady. You've seen 2 games in a row now. Brady have a great first half and not have great second halves. Even the Green Bay game, he threw the one pick that we talked about a lot off Evans' hands. The other one was they just weren't on the same page. And the third one wasn't the end of the world because it was kind of like ended up being like a punt. But you can't turn the ball over that many times, and give the ball back to Kansas City. You can't hand Kansas City 3 extra possessions. So I want to see if Brady can, play a normal Tom Brady 4 quarters. If he can do that, I think they have a very good shot to win the football game. If he gives Patrick Mahomes extra possessions, I think you're absolutely playing with fire. So I think that matchup matters. And a lot of people want to talk about, the 2 of them both being there, being the quarterbacks, but I absolutely 100% think it matters who plays better between the 2 of them.
I mean, I don't think there's any question that the Bucs defensive line outplays the Chiefs offensive line, but it's about how bad. And if you watched the loss of Brian Bulaga for the Packers and what happened with them on the left side of the line, I don't, if they get exposed like that and Tampa Bay can just get to Mahomes, rushing just their front 4 and dropping back 7, It's a problem.
That's bad for Kansas City.
It's bad for Kansas City.
I think it's, I mean, the kind of pressure they get is spot on, like you said, too. Are they getting him and just making him throw the ball a little bit faster than he wants to? Or are they getting him and sacking him? Are they getting him and forcing fumbles? Or are they, you start giving that, and we've seen it in the last 2 games. If you give, that defense opportunity to make plays and make turnovers, they're going to do it. They are good that way. So, yeah, I mean, it's, if you give Bowles the opportunity to drop 7 or 8 and not have to, or drop 7 and not have to blitz like he likes to do, that's probably not a good outcome for Kansas City.
Kachal, what's your thoughts on the game? What's your biggest matchup you're looking at?
For me, the biggest matchup is going to be that Kansas City secondary going up against the Tampa Bay receivers. We saw in the first game the receivers for the Bucs, they kind of struggled a bit. Chris Godwin had 98 yards in that one, but Gronk was their leading receiver. It's going to be really interesting to see how Kansas City plays. I mean, they've played a lot of man coverage throughout this year, and so with Snead and Breland, Matthew, and Sorensen back there, it'll be interesting to see how Mike Evans and Chris Godwin can create space and to see how Tom Brady fits those balls into those windows. I think if they play how they've played these playoffs so far, which is pretty inconsistent, speak like the receivers, Tampa Bay's receivers, they play inconsistent against that Kansas City Chiefs team that's going to be, right on their hip. They're going to be in for a long day. Tom's going to have to throw it into some tight windows, and I know he can do that, but asking him to do that all game long is going to be an issue. So I think Tampa Bay's receivers need to show up, and I'm sure they will. Those are they got great players, but at the end of the day, if Kansas City can find a way to get 1 or 2 turnovers, or God forbid 3, then Kansas City is going to roll in that game, and that's my one fear.
If Kansas City turns over Tampa Bay 3 times, that game's going to be a laugher.
That's what I'm saying.
It won't be close. Here's one thing I want to break down. I want to ask a little bit more. What was your grade for Tom Brady in the NFC Championship game? If you were grade him A through F, I want to hear your grade, because the one thing that drove me nuts all week was, Tom Brady does it again. Tom Brady does it again. And I watched that football game, and all right, so I'll start. I gave him a C+.
That's fair. I'm probably right there. I mean, the first half was probably A minus, and then the second half you were looking at D. I mean, they won in spite of Tom Brady, not because of Tom Brady.
I agree.
In the second half. So
yeah, I think and I mentioned it a couple minutes ago. I think it was a tale of 2 halves. They had the huge lead they did because of Tom Brady. He let them back in the game a little bit. First half I would definitely say A, and second half's probably C if you're being generous. So overall, C plus B minus. Again, I think if he plays a full game at a B plus level, I think they're in the game. I think he's got to get on the same page. Like I said, I said it last week when we were talking about it. Him and Mike Evans are so hot and cold. There's times you watch them go down the field, and they're like the same player. Like they're sharing a brain. Like they're on the exact same page. And then you watch other things happen, and they're not even in the same book. Like the one interception he threw, Tom obviously caught something at the line, for a different route, and Mike Evans just took off, never turned around and looked for the ball. And the third one was all on Tom. It's you can't have those mistakes in the Super Bowl against a team like Kansas City and expect to win. He's got to play a good game. I don't think he's got to be great. I would say offensive wise, this is the most talented team he's ever gone to a Super Bowl with. He's got to let his players make plays. He's just got to not turn the ball over, put them in positions to make plays and get wins against that secondary. And I think Tampa Bay will be there at the end. He's got to play a B. If he plays a B from start to finish, I think there's a good shot Tampa Bay wins that game.
See, I got something to go against, well, kind of against that.
All right.
It depends on how that Tampa Bay defense plays. If Tampa Bay can play how they played the first 3 games of the playoffs, then
the last 2, the game versus Washington, they played terrible.
Just to
be clear,
last 2, then if Brady plays a B caliber game, then they'll have a good shot to win. But if they don't force any turnovers on that Chiefs team, they're going to be in for a long day. Brady's going to have to be A plus caliber for them to win that game. Tampa Bay's defense is good. Well, they're playing good at this point in time. It's just going to be all about, can they contain the Chiefs' speed, and can they contain Travis Kelce? And I just think they're going to have a hard time doing that.
Andy Reid is a very intelligent coach, and he's got 2 weeks to prepare. And if I knew my offensive line was as hurting as bad as Kansas City's, the thing that I would do to start that game is to get that defensive line as tired as possible. There's no team that runs more motions, more screens, more wide. No team that runs more misdirection than what Kansas City does. And Kansas City needs to have the sweeps going. They need to have Tyreek Hill in the backfield and moving them around and just really keep the defense off balance so they're not attacking a spot on the football field. With Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees a lot more. With Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, you kind of know where they're going to be at. They run very, very standard NFL offenses. Now, Rodgers' mobility has been good over the years. It's gotten less and less over the past two. But with Patrick Mahomes and the way they move the pocket, if anybody's going to know how to design something to help their offensive line, it's Andy Reid. It's Andy Reid. And with 2 weeks to prepare, do I need to bring the stat up again? Andy Reid with 2 weeks to prepare, I think he's like 22-5. I looked it up last time. He's absolutely unbelievable with time to prepare. And if he knows his offensive line is hurt, and he knows that that's going to be something he's got to adjust to, I don't see how Tampa Bay wins the football game. Kevin David just put, I think if Brady plays amazing and their defense plays average, the Bucs still lose. I agree with him. I think that Brady has to play an A game or Mahomes has to play a C game. I think if Mahomes plays a B game or better, both sides of the football for Tampa Bay have to play A. That's how good he is. Anybody disagree?
I do.
Okay, let me hear it.
I also think you're discounting Tampa Bay's offense. I think
I'm not discounting.
If you're grading the 4 units individually as a whole, Kansas City's defense is the weakest of the 4 by far.
And Kansas City's offense is the best of the 4
so
by far.
Right, but then it's not by far.
It is by far.
It absolutely is by
far.
You
are wild.
Okay, I guess I'm wild.
It's not close.
Okay. Go put them on paper and go weapon for weapon. It's close.
It's not weapon for weapon.
Yeah,
they don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Who's got the better offensive line?
Right now, Tampa Bay.
Okay,
Kansas
doesn't
City.
matter all year. When are they playing? They're playing this Sunday?
Yeah.
Who's got the better offensive line?
Tampa Bay does.
Okay, it's Hill, Haldeman, and Watkins versus Evans.
You're
Godwin.
going to take Kelsey out of that?
I'm not
They're
there
weapons,
yet.
bro.
I'm wide receivers.
No, but weapons are weapons.
Did we get to tight ends yet? Let me finish.
No, absolutely not.
Wide receiver core, who's better?
Tampa Bay is.
Okay.
Wide receivers.
Okay,
Just
tight end.
Obviously, Kansas City.
Okay, running backs.
Kansas City.
Disagree.
I'll take Edwards-Helaire.
Ronald Jones healthy.
Ronald Jones isn't healthy. He hasn't been healthy all for the last 6 weeks.
He's barely played 3 weeks. He is healthy.
Give me Clyde and Le'Veon over Jones.
And Terrell Williams.
That's close. That's close. And Mahomes is a better quarterback.
By a lot.
Okay, so you take all that up. That's not a huge advantage.
So can I ask, sidebar real quick, okay? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have Tom Brady as their quarterback. Tom Brady in his prime, we're not making this argument right now. But the difference between Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, and like, it just give Madden scores. It's like a 98 versus an 84.
Who cares about Madden?
I'm not saying that's what they're the difference
then
is
why
that
bring it
big.
up? Who cares?
The difference is that big is my point.
So I understand. I understand
A plus versus B minus.
I understand that Tampa Bay has this great offense on paper, but we don't know which Tampa Bay offense is going to show up. We're going to assume that the offense that's prolific and that has these all pro guys making plays is going to show up. But if we want to just go based off of paper, Buffalo Bills have the second best offense in football in the regular season.
Tennessee was first,
and the Kansas City was first.
Them on
Buffalo
paper,
was second.
You wouldn't
Tennessee
take
was
either
third.
one of them over Kansas City.
But we saw how that Chiefs team could neutralize that Buffalo team last week. We saw Stephon Diggs didn't really do much.
So outside of Diggs, who else would you possibly put in the same category as anybody on Kansas City or Tampa Bay? He's the only one.
I wouldn't put anybody on in that category.
That's my point.
But we saw even in the game, the first time they played, no one had over 100 yards besides Gronk. It's not like they were just going crazy
they got
on the
smoked
Kansas
by
City.
New Orleans twice and beat them. They got killed by they beat Green Bay and then beat them again at home.
But you got to think though, these are different circumstances as well though. That Green Bay offense wasn't playing how Green Bay played all year. Tom Brady threw 3 picks, and even in that Green Bay game, none of the receivers looked great in that one.
None.
Chris Godwin has had a terrible playoffs.
He had one catch. He had one drop in that game.
I'm
and what was the first series?
He didn't look great though. That's the thing. Like you're saying, like you're bringing up these names because we know what they can do when they're playing at their best. But the way that they have been playing the past few games,
you're assuming they're not going to do that Sunday.
I'm just going based off what they've been playing their past like 3, 4, 5 games.
And for Tampa Bay to have any shot
in
this
football game. And they
game,
didn't have Antonio Brown last week either.
And for Tampa Bay to have any shot in this football game, they have to play like they played the last 2 weeks. Like if they played like they played all season,
defensively, they have to play like that.
The entire NFL season.
They won their last 6 games going in, and then won 2 playoff games. So you're 8 in a row.
Do you want to talk about who they played? Because
did Kansas City play good games all year?
Kansas City
lost. They lost one game, and everybody played.
I'm not saying they can't win. You're like based off your opinion. I hope when we get to predictions, you're predicting they're going to win by like 13 because that's what you're saying.
I'm saying the Chiefs are going to win the football game
by a lot because it's a huge advantage.
10.
Okay, so that's a close game.
Yes.
Okay, so all I've said is Tampa Bay. Every time I say something about Tampa Bay, no shot they do that. No shot they have a chance to win.
My point is, if Patrick Mahomes plays at an A level or a B level, Tampa Bay doesn't have a shot to win the football game.
So if Mahomes in the offense plays an A, but Brady plays at a B plus, and Kansas City's defense plays like dog shit, you don't think Tampa Bay can win that game?
Not a shot.
Okay,
no.
I'd say
Mahomes
you're both wrong.
No shot.
Okay.
My thing is,
sorry.
Go ahead.
1 second.
Go ahead.
The one thing that a lot of people forget about is the last play of that football game. You can look at that replay over and over and over again. The one where Kevin King actually held the guy's shirt. Brady was off by 10 yards on that throw. It was not even close.
Because he was dragging him for 5 yards.
There's no chance he was catching that football. Green Bay gave them gifts that entire football
penalties
game.
Again.
No, not penalties. First of all, I agree with the penalty. I don't know what you're saying. What I'm
then why
saying
bring
is
it up?
Because that throw was way off. And Tom Brady didn't play a good second half.
If they call a stupid thing against Cleveland, maybe they don't even beat Cleveland then.
I'm not saying about penalties.
Then why bring it up? You have no point with it then.
Yes, the point is the throw was way off.
It wasn't because you're dragging somebody and slowing them down for 5 yards.
15 yards off.
Okay. It wasn't 10, 15 yards off.
It was terrible.
You're high, dude.
Watch the replay.
I've watched it. He went to dive and it was 3 feet past his hands.
3 feet?
So if you drag somebody for that long, 10 yards, 15 yards?
Stop.
15 yards is 45 feet, dude.
Yeah, it's about that.
That throw was 45 feet off. You're blind. 45 feet off. You're crazy,
bro.
Dude.
You're nuts. I don't know what you're watching. I get it. You're a Michigan guy. I get it.
Yo, Mike, can you pull that up?
I get
You're a nobody guy.
All I
you
know
don't root
is
for anybody.
what
does Michigan have to do with anything?
All I know is if Tom Brady doesn't play an A plus game or at least an A game, I don't think they have a shot to win the game.
I agree.
I disagree. I guess I'll say.
So what's a matchup if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? You're worried about. Charles, start with you.
The matchup you're worried about.
Yes.
It has to be the speed of the Chiefs. I mean, you let Tyreek Hill go up top for 200 yards in the first quarter in the first matchup. If you key in on him, I'm sure Andy Reid is already thinking about, ways to design Mecole Hardman, maybe same play design, but for Mecole Hardman on the other side, because, I mean, he's probably just as fast as Tyreek. Tyreek Hill's the fastest guy in the league, but if anybody was number 2, it's probably Mecole Hardman. So essentially, they can run a lot of play design for Mecole Hardman and do the same stuff that Tyreek Hill does, and that's a lot of speed on the field. So if I'm Tampa Bay, that's what I'm worried about.
And Sammy Watkins is playing.
Yeah.
It's another one. Sammy Watkins. So I might even go with the Chiefs wide receiving core. If you add Sammy Watkins with Mecole and Tyreek Hill, and if we're taking out Travis Kelce, because honestly, if you go receiving core, it's not even close. But it's like as a whole, we're adding the best tight end in football. The matchup, if I'm Tampa Bay, is the same thing. I'm worried about their secondary versus Tampa Bay's versus Kansas City's offensive weapons. We obviously know they could stop the run. They stopped the run all year. I am really trying to understand if that defense can stop the running game rushing 4 and dropping back so many. I think they were so concerned with stopping the run that Tyreek Hill had 200 yards in the first quarter. They're like, oh, shit, we got to change this around. Bill, if you're a Chiefs or a Bucks fan, what are you most worried about?
That's absolutely that. I mean, I think stopping Hilaire is one thing. I mean, but the jet sweeps, which they use so well, is a big part of it. the front four, if you're running them correctly, the front four don't even factor into stopping them. I think Tampa Bay's front seven is very solid. Again, it's those safeties like to come up and hit. I mean, you saw it in the Green Bay game. If you get them caught in play action and, with Hill and those guys running behind them, that is when you're asking to get smoked. I'm curious to see how Bowles is going to play them, what he's going to do with his corners, what he's going to do with his safeties. And I think a lot of that will be dependent upon how well they do at the beginning of the game with stopping the run. If Kansas City can't run the ball traditionally, you'll start seeing a lot of jet sweeps. You'll start seeing reverses, stuff like that. And that takes the front four out of the game. I mean, they're not nobody from the defensive end position is running down Tyreek Hill. That's just not going to happen. So I think a big onus on this is Tampa Bay's corners. They have to. I feel like they're going to play a lot of. I think they're going to try to give up the little stuff underneath and not give up, the home run passes like they did the last time they played them. If they can do that, I mean, that remains to be seen. I mean, that's 100% the matchup, and then what linebacker are they going to try to match up with Kelsey? If the receivers are 1A, that's 1B.
That's the problem, because if they have a safety lineup with Kelsey, so you have to have a linebacker.
You have to go probably Devin White. I mean, he's the only guy that has the speed and agility to.
Devin White is fast. Yeah.
But the problem with that is, and this is what scares me. If you have Devin White match up against Travis Kelsey, I would line up Travis Kelsey on the right side and run sweep after sweep after sweep to the left, because you're putting him on the other side of football field.
Right.
He's the best. He's by far their fastest linebacker.
Right.
He's by far their best linebacker. Design way, scheme way, I feel like I could build a game plan for Kansas City with all that speed. And I know Andy Reid's better than I am.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's the part of the chess match. I mean, I think if they do that, I'm sure they have contingency plans with what they want to do. I feel like if they do that, if White's just going to follow Kelsey, then I would say there are other two linebackers then are going to play the other two positions, and they'll adjust that way. He would almost be like a spy for Kelsey, and then if he's on the left hand side, then whoever usually plays the left is going to move to the middle linebacker, and they're just going to it's going to change play by play. If they can do that, I don't know. That remains to be seen. That's you're asking guys to play positions they probably haven't played all year and have responsibilities. It's a problem.
I agree with you. I think Devin White's best ability is to tack ball and to stop that run. Yep. I think that you have to figure out another way to guard Tyreek Hill without bracketing two people over the top.
The other thing, though, is that you're probably not going to play a lot of man coverage against that Chiefs team, just because of how fast they are and how talented they are, honestly. You don't want to have a one-on-one matchup with Tyreek Hill. Obviously, you probably, you would want someone to double him over the top. But then on the backside, if you got Mecole Hardman one-on-one against anybody, that's a nightmare waiting to happen.
I think they're going to play cover two all game.
Then you got Travis Kelsey. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think you don't want to play man coverage against that Chiefs team.
I think they're going to play cover two man the whole game.
I think the beginning of it's going to dictate a lot. I mean, if they can get pressure on, if they can't get pressure on Mahomes without blitzing, you cannot play zone against him, because he will destroy you if he has 4 seconds to throw the football.
The other problem with man coverage, even if you go cover two man, they run so many motions and jet sweep plays and fake motions at that. So, you're going to have these guys running all over the field, and that's going to leave you susceptible to the big play. You get one guy that slips or one guy that doesn't get the call and he, motions the wrong way, whatever. That's going to leave you vulnerable to the big play. So that's another reason why I don't see them playing man coverage a lot in this game.
I agree with your premise. I'm just going by what Tampa Bay does.
Right.
And I follow you. You make perfect sense. But Todd Bowles has been real successful this year real successful last 2 weeks. No, seriously.
No. I'm with you. I'm with you.
We really look at Tampa Bay all year has been a disappointment. All year, I predicted them to win the NFC South. They got their doors blown out twice by New Orleans. They were down to Atlanta a huge comeback to Atlanta. Carolina was beating them at the half. There's a lot of football all year, 16 weeks in the regular season. They did not look that good. Now, granted, they've looked way better the last 2 weeks.
Right.
And Tom Brady has a lot to do with that, not because of the way he's playing on the football field, because of what he brings as far as playoff experience, as far as what learning how to manage a football game,
Mhm.
time, clock, bro, the balls it took to run that fourth down play and then get that touchdown to Scotty Miller was backbreaking. Backbreaking.
That's the other thing. I'm not going to say that Tampa Bay has to rely on the breaks in the game, but Scotty Miller touchdown in that Green Bay game, and then you got the game against the Saints where the defense gets these fumbles. Jared Cook fumbled, and they had another fumble recovery. They really have to rely on their defense to make plays, and I can't emphasize that enough. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do if they can neutralize the Chiefs' speed, and then of course, if they do find a way to neutralize the speed in the first half, Andy Reid's going to go back to the locker room and draw some stuff up and be ready for the second half.
So my question to you, and I'm going to ask you and then Bill, what player – all right, in the Green Bay game, did it feel like the game was too big for Kevin King and Aaron Jones? Did it feel like the football game, the moment, was too big for those two players? Am I the only one that's seen that?
With Kevin King, I just think it was a case of having a bad game.
You think the moment was too big for him?
I've seen him make too many plays for it to just be the moment. And at a certain point, football is just football, especially in Lambeau where, it was limited fans. It wasn't like I understand it was an NFC Championship game, but it wasn't like you had 80,000 people just yelling and screaming and, at your neck because you give up this play here and there. I think for Kevin King, it was just the case of having a bad football game.
Do you think it was more quicksand?
It could have. I mean, especially playing DB2, you got to think that a lot of it is mental. So after you get beat 3 or 4 times, you're mentally checked out, depending on where your mindset's at. So I think that also could have played a part in it. With Aaron Jones, I mean, both fumbles he had, it wasn't like he was doing anything the wrong way. I mean, it was just 2 good hits by, Tampa Bay. They got the helmet right on the football, and that's just a part of the game. You could say what you want to about his mental. Maybe it was on him for not going back in the game. I don't think that was the case, but if that's the case, then yeah, the moment was too big for him. But his play on the field, I don't think it was the moment. I think it was just more so just good football plays made by Tampa Bay.
Okay. What do you think? Do you think that all right, so the question I'm going to ask about the Green Bay Paint is prefaced. Do you think that Kevin King and Aaron Jones, the game was too big for them?
No. I think King picked a really bad time to play a really bad football game. I don't think it was too big from him at the start. I do think
Johnny Bracero.
What do you say?
Wireline. Aaron Jones has no heart.
I think I especially think the play right before the half, after that, I think he was a little bit mentally fried for that game, for the rest of the game. Jones, the Jones thing is weird to me. I've seen the guy play great the last couple years. But again, like Cottrell said, I mean, you can't. Sometimes somebody just makes a better football play than you. It's not like he was running around the end untouched and just dropped the football and fumbled. I mean, he got smoked twice. And it just, that's one of those things you have to give credit to Tampa Bay. I mean, that's just two really good hits, and it's, if anything, if you're going to say that the moment was too big for anybody, I 100% think it was LaFleur.
That's a very fair statement. That's fair. So that's a third person I add to my list.
If anybody was deer in the headlights in that game, to me, it was him.
I think it was all 3 of them.
And
what bigger games Kevin King played in, just to be clear? His entire career.
I get that was the biggest game of his career, but I don't think that means that the
That's
moment
fair.
was too big.
Has he ever played worse than that football game? I don't think he's played worse in high school, college, and his rookie year. That was the worst football game I've ever seen a cornerback play in my life. And you know what? I'm lying. The kid from the Eagles that played earlier that got pulled after he was getting the Cowboys were just finding him. I forget his name. God bless him. But outside of that game, I've never seen a cornerback play worse in my life.
I think if you see him on that stage again, you won't see that kind of performance from him.
That will be the second time he's in that moment. It's different.
I think that play before the half really defines how he played that game.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I know we talked about it before, how do you put him out there? But at the same time, I mean, you just can't let him get behind you like that.
Yep.
It's I don't know.
My point for that comment was, the reason I asked, now you added LaFleur, thank you, because that adds a third person. What player on Tampa Bay is this game going to be too big for? And like your only answer, by the way, you have A. There's A. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You don't know what he's going to do. Although he played a national championship and played his ass off in the national championship. So I don't think it will be him. So what player on that Chiefs team, coaching included, is the game going to be too big for? Whereas when I look at Tampa Bay, sorry, I'll finish that. When I look at Tampa Bay, I've looked at Chris Godwin all postseason, and the moments might have been a little bit too big for him. I really have. And
I would agree with you with him before last game. He had a very good game in Green Bay.
That catch he made was unbelievable. I got to give him credit for that.
And the crazy thing and the funny thing was, I was watching that he caught his first pass, which was a good catch. The one after that was a drop, which kind of fell into the same category me and you have been talking about for a couple weeks. And then he made that great catch a couple plays after that, and he was good for the rest of the game.
Because that confidence was there after that huge play.
So, that factors into it. AB is going to be fine.
AB's too cocky not to be able to be playing in the moment.
And he's played in a bunch of big games.
That's what I'm saying. I agree with you.
Evans, I think, will be fine. If you're going to find somebody, it's probably going to be on the defense. But again, the people.
Antoine Winfield? That's a.
Yeah. But I think the front four, those guys have all played in big games. You usually find one. You hope it's not a guy that, like with King in that game, you hope it ends up not being on a play that defines the game. I think Arians will be fine. I don't think he's going to coach any differently. Bowles obviously will be fine. I don't think you can. I think it's hard to not mix up, your game plan not working versus too big for the game.
I have no idea why I'm blanking, but Bruce Arians was the coach of the Arizona Cardinals when they lost to Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. Am I correct?
I believe so.
Am I correct there? Can you look that up to make sure I'm not like spitting out my ass? Because he coached an amazing game in that game. They almost won that game. Fitzgerald's big slant touchdown. I think he coached an incredible game.
You're talking a top 5 or 6 catch ever for them.
Oh, wasn't that?
Yep.
Okay.
So, is Arians a coordinator for them then?
No, I think he might still been with Pittsburgh then. No, he wasn't. He must have been with Indy. He was Indy's OC when
maybe
when Chuck Pagano had cancer. He was coaching for them. I thought it was. Oh man, I just thought it was right there. But I just would love to see.
He was in Pittsburgh.
Still in Pittsburgh?
Yep.
Okay.
Pittsburgh's OC.
All right, so there. That's right, because that's when he left.
But still, he was in the game though.
No. What I'm saying is because that's when Pittsburgh was really, really good, and then he left. And I remember for this 2 years, they had all the issues with Ben because the guy they brought in after that, and I can't think of his name now. He's been an OC a bunch of places, was the head coach for a while.
Todd Haley.
Yes. Him and Ben just butted heads with everything, and he hated the way he called the game. Pretty much ran him out of town. But they're calling for weather too. So
75% chance of rain.
I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
That'll slow down the Chiefs a little bit. I think that's way worse for the Chiefs if it rains.
Only reason why I don't think so is because they run so many jet sweeps or jet touch passes where they can get the ball in their playmakers' hands relatively quickly. I think obviously Tom Brady is not going to have as much of a hard time handling, the weather just because he's played in so many games with terrible weather. I think it would be a factor for those Tampa Bay receivers. They're used to playing in the sunshine all year.
They actually, it rains a lot in Tampa.
Yeah.
But I think people with heavier feet like Evans and Godwin, they would slip a lot less than people that cut, like Hill, like Hardman, people that juke, that cut.
The one thing I'll say with the sweeps and everything, Andy Reid is very good at calling them at the right time. That can't be a play that you start trying to run 12 times a game.
Right.
And you can only disguise it so many different ways. I agree with Gene. I think it benefits Tampa Bay more because they are the better team at just lining up and running the football between the tackles. I hate seeing bad weather at Super Bowls. I want to see good conditions and just. Yeah.
I feel like every Super Bowl should be in a dome. Maybe they create one stadium. This would be really a fun concept. If they create one stadium in no one's home park and it was just this decked out stadium.
It was the Super Bowl stadium.
Yeah.
you just put a stadium in the middle of Montana just because they
Whatever.
got a lot of land.
Yep.
And you just
Wouldn't
state of
that be
the art
fun,
stadium.
though?
You
Just,
can't do Montana though.
Not Montana.
Yeah, people
that
traveling. Yeah.
They can't handle it. And who
I'm
the
just
hell
saying,
wants
like,
to go to Montana?
just somewhere in the middle of, not the middle of nowhere, but
Montana
like,
would be
I'm with
bad
you.
weather, but I guess dome. I
Yeah.
just put a nice state-of-the-art SoFi stadium in the middle of a.
That's why I was really surprised when New York built their new stadium. They didn't build it with a roof, and they still got the Super Bowl anyway. They got so lucky that year
Which was ridiculous.
with the weather.
It was like
still cold.
It was, but like mid 40s. It was mid 40s
Yeah, I
at
was gonna
kick,
say.
like, and there was no rain and it wasn't really windy. Like football players have no problem playing in that. But I just don't know. I mean, especially with that city, I don't know why they wouldn't put a retractable roof. Because they would get it with where it would be hosting in New York City. Like they'd get a Super Bowl every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, and to add to that, the concerts that they have there,
Yeah, I just
it doesn't make any logical sense.
I mean, because if you're any kind of performer, if you can sell out Madison Square Garden, like that's kind of how you know, like you made it. Yeah, I mean,
Madison Square Gardens is puny compared to what these artists are signing up.
My point is, if you had these big, even country people or whoever, if you had these people that can play New York in the middle of January, to your point, that's enormous.
I agree with you.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I dropped the ball there.
I'm just gonna go back to I'm gonna reel it back to like what your original question was. A player who I think it might be a little bit, it may or may not be too big for the moment. I would have questions about would be L'Jarius Sneed, the Chiefs rookie corner.
Yeah,
he's played really well all season. He's played really well in the postseason, but I mean, he's a rookie.
Wait, it's not Willie Sneed? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's played really well in the regular season and the postseason, but this is probably going to be, two of the best receivers. Biggest moment he's ever played. I mean, it's going to be against two really good receivers.
Yeah, he's going to be covering a big guy all game.
And I guarantee you that Tom Brady will find him like a heat-seeking missile and try to get in his head early.
As he should.
Oh, of course. Of course. So let's just move into some fun prop bets.
Yeah.
All right, I have a bunch. So I'll give one, and then you guys give one, and then we'll keep going until we run out.
Okay.
I have a lot, and I really like a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I'll go with my easiest one. Travis Kelce over 98 yards. He set the over like every single big game they've ever played.
I think that's a gift.
Over 98 yards for Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is the security blanket for Patrick Mahomes. He is the best receiving tight end you might ever watch in your entire life. Him and Tony Gonzalez. It's one or the other. They're both amazing. So I'm going to go over 98 yards for Travis Kelce. Control, you got one off Dome?
Yep. So I got Mecole Hardman. I like his over 28.5 yards. I just really feel like after that first game, Tampa Bay is really going to hone in on Tyreek Hill, and that's going to open the door for Mecole to have a few big catches. So I really like his over 28.5.
Bill, I'm going to give you one in a second. I actually leaned the under in Tyreek Hill catches. I'm not picking that. It's not one of my props, but I lean the under because I agree with your point.
What is that at?
It's like 9 or 7. It's a high number.
See,
Tyreek Hill catches. Can you check that for me? I know it's like 8, 9. It's something really high, and they're pressing over. Might be 7.5, but I'm going to lean under on Tyreek Hill catches because you said. I agree with your point. Even money on roughing the passer foul. Wait, William Joseph's on the wire line. I like it. There's definitely going to be one with those two quarterbacks.
6.5.
Is it really?
Yep.
It's higher on my book, I swear.
So I would take over.
That's
then,
what they got at
especially when they do that
FanDuel.
like that pop pass thing that counts as a catch.
Yeah.
Because the ball's going forward. I would take over there.
All right, give me your first prop.
I always like this one. I don't know why, but I bet it every single year. Whatchamacallit? The Gatorade. I love picking Gatorade.
What's the props on it?
Orange is plus 125, and it's hard to go against it because I think it's hit like for the last 5 years or something like that. It's always orange because nobody drinks it because it's disgusting.
I love it.
But I'm going red. I'm going red or pink this year, plus 300.
I feel like it has to be red because both teams' main color is red.
Yeah, they don't do that though.
I know, but I'm just
with you.
saying like.
By the way, just sidebar, the no Gatorade bath. What's that listing at? Plus 1,000?
FanDuel doesn't even have it.
It's funny. Do they refund money if there's no Gatorade bath? Because that's happened a lot.
I don't know if you can. I would say no because you can't even bet it on FanDuel. So that's not an option. And honestly, I don't think Arians or Andy Reid are running away from a Gatorade bath either. So I feel like there's no shot they're going to take action on that.
Edwards-Helaire the score a touchdown anytime. I think it's running off at like plus 135. But I like
165.
165. I like that a lot. Edwards-Helaire, I think, is going to score a close knit
That one's tough for me. I mean, I just could see him. I could see the way the game flow is. I'm just not scoring, and that's nothing against him as a player. It's just Andy Reid loves to run all those little like 2-yard passes, shovel passes, and stuff like that when they get locked in a goal line. I just think, and the odds dictate that. I mean, plus 135. That's not even that big of a. Where's it, 165?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's not even that much
Anytime.
of a favorite to not happen.
Yeah, well, it's that's what even
Yeah,
money. That's most of these props are. I got Edwards-Helaire to score a touchdown. You got another one, Control?
Yep. So I like Gronk over 31.5 yards. The first matchup, he had over 100 yards. I think if Kansas City plays a lot of man, you're going to have a lot of Gronkowski one-on-one with people. And Tom Brady and Gronk in the Super Bowl, I mean, that's going to be a safety net. So I like the over for Gronk, 31.5.
I think there's a better chance he catches 2 touchdowns than it goes over 35 yards.
He doesn't have to go over 35, just over 31.5.
I get it. I follow your point, but I mean, my point being is I can see him having like 4 catches or 3 catches for 2 touchdowns,
15
9 yards,
yeah.
2 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
What's your second one?
I actually like Brady to go over the 295.
Passing.
Yeah,
that's trouble then.
It could be trouble. It could be just keep pace type thing. And again, I think it, like you said, I think if they throw the ball early and they have success, I mean, I think one of the things that makes Andy Reid so good, and I think you're going to see it out of Arians too. I mean, I've heard Andy Reid talk about it before. They have a game plan for what they want to do, and they have a game plan, A, B, and C for what's working. And I think that could be the case. I still lean under for the entire game, but I could also see this absolutely being like an arena football game too. So I'll go over 295. I think he's going to have to throw a little bit enough. And even if they get up big, again, Kansas City's not a team you can try to, deflate the game, deflate, like they're going to score.
Deflate the football?
Yeah.
Is that what
so I think it's not a team you can take your foot off the gas.
Brady does a lot of deflating footballs, just to be clear. I like the over in 30. So I'm a huge Edwards-Helaire fan. I'm a huge Edwards-Helaire fan. So I have him to score a touchdown. I also have him going over 34 yards. I think the way Tampa Bay is going to have to play this football game is exactly what Bill said it earlier, or Control said it earlier, where they're going to have to actually lay back and give up the short stuff. And I actually believe Edwards-Helaire is going to run the ball and run the ball a lot. I think Edwards-Helaire over 34 yards, 34 and a half, depending where you get it. I like Edwards-Helaire over 34 and a half. You have another one?
Yep. So my last one, I got Ronald Jones over 35 and a half.
I like that one.
I feel like he's had a couple more weeks off. They haven't really used Ronald Jones too much because he has been hurt. But, now that he's back, I really feel like he's going to be more of the lead back. And, Fournette's been running hard. I will give him his credit for that. But I feel like Ronald Jones is their guy, and I think he goes over 35 and a half.
Do you know what the problem with Leonard Fournette, and the reason I agree with you, and I really like that prop?
He can't catch a beach ball.
That's correct. And with Tom Brady, he likes they don't want to make it too obvious that they're throwing the football, so Ronald Jones will end up playing more.
Yeah. I agree. I think if he's healthy, and I said this earlier, I think he's healthy. He's like, I don't think you're going to see Fournette a lot because it gives Tom another option at a normal sets to throw the ball to him out of the backfield. Fournette is terrible at catching the football.
Yeah. Well, you've seen his over-under for rushing yards, right? It's like 48.
Yeah. Again,
for a number one running back, that's super low.
Yeah, I mean, he's only number one because he was hurt. I mean, Arians even made that statement a couple times during the year, even after they got Fournette, that Rojo was the guy. I think if he's healthy and he can go and he can run, I think you're going to see way more Ronald Jones than you are Fournette.
Also on the wire line, if you guys can throw up your score predictions, and whoever gets closest to the score for the Super Bowl will throw in a free T-shirt. And by the way, what we're talking about with free T-shirts, those orders are about 2 weeks away. I apologize. With the snow, with the mail delivery, with everything that's going on, we're a little behind on the merch. I apologize. I'll make it up to you guys in the future.
How are you doing closest score, though? Like, are you doing, like, total points? Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. How do you want to determine that? I would say the closest score.
Because if you have 200 people guessing, like, it's going to matter probably. Like, you're probably going to have a lot of people in the same area.
So we'll go the team that wins will be so like if there's a close tiebreaker, the person that has the team that wins. and then I guess total points. No, you can't do total points. It's got to be the closest margin of victory.
So, like, if one person has it, like, they were 2 points off with this team and 5 points off the other team, or
what I mean.
That's tough. We'll figure that one out. I'll post it on the Facebook page. I just want to give away a free T-shirt. I do.
We're going to get sued for a T-shirt.
If anybody's going to problem with that, I'd throw them out of here.
So then I'm guessing, I just looked it up. Leonard Fournette's over-under total reception is at 3.5. I'm guessing we're all...
Bet the moon on the under.
Well, they throw the ball to him a lot.
He drops it a lot.
I know.
He's got to catch it.
All right, so do you have another prop?
I have a really good one because I think this one's a lock.
Lock. Stone cold lead pipe.
Longest field goal of the game, over 46.5. I think it's a gift.
In the rain, bro.
Yeah, I mean, weather could play into that, but if it's not, I mean, it's still warm down there. So if
Buckner's got a leg.
Yeah. So if it's if it's not like puddles on the field bad, I absolutely think it's over for that.
Okay. I have Mike Evans anytime touchdown score. That's like even money. I think that there's no doubt he doesn't score. He scores almost every game. Him and Tom Brady link up perfectly in the red zone. To someone's point earlier, I think it was Cottrell that said it, where sometimes they look like or it was you, Bill, right?
Yeah, it was Bill.
Sometimes they look like they're sharing a brain. Sometimes they look, when they look like they're sharing a brain in the red zone.
I know they started out the year, they were like 6 for 6 or 7 for 7, like not even like an incompletion. Like the first 7 times he threw the ball to Evans in the red zone, it was a touchdown every time. It was like some crazy stat.
Timmy Todd had a really good prediction on the wire line because it's so close to the over-under. It was 34-20 Chiefs, which, listen, it could be 27-20 and the Chiefs could score a touchdown late. I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to blow them out, but I think that prediction's really close because it hits really close to the over-under, too, 55.5.
Yeah, I feel like Vegas is going to take a bath on this one way or the other. I mean, perfect for them would be, Kansas City wins the game, but they only win by 2.
Yep.
Yeah, because then they'll be, lighting money on fire because they're going to have so much of it.
Okay, that's all my props. Does anybody else have a prop?
I always like tails in the Super Bowl.
I'm going heads this year.
I always
100%.
like
I bet it every year. I don't bet heads every year, but I bet the Super Bowl.
Well, are you betting that's what they're going to call, or that's what it's going to be?
No, so I do that
both.
too.
Yeah.
I do both. I do what team's going to win. I do heads. I do tails. Bro, my prop bets.
You're degenerate.
Degenerate's an understatement, sir. Come on. Like, give me a little bit more credit.
Down 200 by kickoff, or up 200 by kickoff.
Dude, I normally do well on
It's happened.
Yeah. I normally do well on the coin flips and the pregame stuff. Over under the national anthem.
Who is singing the national anthem this year?
I don't know. I'll look at it the day of, and then I'll
Is it on
YouTube
there?
them singing the national anthem.
Well, that's why they never let them. That's why they never let anybody record practice because it screws them.
Bro, you can tell the
Jasmine
national
Sullivan is singing the national
What the hell
anthem.
is that?
R&B singer.
Well, it'll probably
This
be
is
long.
the worst musical Super Bowl ever, and I know we're gonna get into it anyway. But I'm just, dude.
Okay, so that's fun. We'll do worst. Let's go our favorite halftime performance. And then we'll get into our favorite Super Bowl, and then we're gonna move up, which is the last Super Bowl talk.
Well, when are we doing predictions?
Right after
We're doing after that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So favorite halftime show.
All right, so
This is a Super Bowl show, guys. If you're not here for the Super Bowl, I don't know what to tell you.
I will say I'm young. I haven't probably seen they haven't had the great performers since I've been locked into the Super Bowl. But
you're actually right on that because I actually looked at a list today of everyone ever since they've started doing it. It was like a thing. There's been some back early 90s, there were some wild combinations that would never happen today, like bad stuff. So you're 100% right with that.
Yeah. So with that said, though, I'll go with Bruno and Beyonce.
That was a great one. She got a lot of flack for that afterwards but I love that one.
Nothing to do with that though. Her flack was what, for lack of a better term, was going on and what she said prior to that.
Yeah,
her performance was good.
Performance is great.
And then the whole blackout, that was the same Super Bowl, right? The blackout
was that Baltimore, San Fran?
Yeah.
Was it that one?
I don't know.
That's the blackout, but was that halftime show?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Someone on a wire line will let us know.
Someone know.
What's yours, Bill?
I actually did 3 because I didn't know how much we were going to get into this. So
Bill always overdoes it.
I give you over prepared. It's better than me underprepared.
Hey, listen.
So number 3 for me was a tie between Bruno. Listen, I'll take shit for this, and that's fine. I don't care because my reasoning for it is spot on. Tie with Bruno. And number 3 was the Aerosmith NSYNC Britney, and that solely makes the list because of the pants she wore.
So before you give your 4, because you're gonna give 4, do you mind if I give my 1? I feel like my 1's gonna be on your list, and then you have 15.
No, I only have 2 more.
Right,
but I feel like,
Yeah, that was the Blackout Super Bowl, by the way.
I feel like your 1's probably gonna be the same one for me.
All right, good. I'll take the cake here.
All right. So my second one is U2.
U2 was good, very good.
It was very good, and the significance of it with what they did, after 9/11, and it was just good. 1 for me though, I don't think it's even close.
Yes.
1 for me is Prince.
Oh no, that's not it.
Absolutely.
I feel like I know who your 1 is.
You know who my 1 is, right?
Janet and Justin?
Yes. That was you know what? That was so amazing because it was just like, did that really just happen? If anybody at home is saying Janet and Justin wasn't the greatest television like you watched, yeah, exactly. Thank you, RJ. That was awesome TV.
Ruined
I don't know.
TV.
It doesn't need to be. Listen, I'm gonna go Left Shark and Katy Perry. I'm kidding, but
You know what's funny about Katy Perry's, dude? I looked at 4 or 5 lists today, and she was in the top 10 at every single list.
yeah, I mean, outside
thought it was
the
good.
weird shark that was way off beat, it was pretty
It was
funny.
fine. Princess was the best. In the Rain, he sang Purple Rain, was the best. In Miami, it's great.
That's awesome. But Janet and Justin are mine. That was awesome. Like, MTV didn't get our halftime show for like 20 years after, or 10 years after that.
Well, I mean, it's changed everything too.
All right, so second part, your favorite Super Bowl, and we have already excluded Super Bowl 52 because that's obvious for Philly fans.
Yeah, we're not picking that.
Okay, so we're not picking that. Your favorite Super Bowl outside of 52 for us. Now, Chuck can pick anyone he wants. He can pick 52 because it was the best game ever.
You could pick that one that was Brown. Never mind. You can't do that.
Whoa!
Ha ha.
Oh, we literally just lost 4 listeners.
4 and 2.
Audio's gone. Time is
Sorry,
gone.
Sorry.
My favorite Super Bowl would probably be Super Bowl 44, Saints beating the Colts.
It's a good Super Bowl.
It wasn't like a great, like, eventful Super Bowl, but the pick six to seal it, and then, like, knowing, like, what that championship meant for New Orleans, it was pretty cool to watch. And then I feel like no one really had the Colts losing that game.
No.
So that was a interesting Super Bowl to watch. And then, like, that, I feel like that was one of the first Super Bowls where I was, like, really into it, and 'cause I think I was in, like, 7th or 8th grade. So
Was that the onside kick game?
Yes.
Yes,
yep,
good game.
onside kick at
Good pick.
halftime.
Yep. Payne came out with it second half.
Great pick. What did RJ just put up on the wire line?
It's about John Lennon.
John Lennon? Is that what we put up? You guys didn't like the cool John Lennon Imagine song?
No.
I did.
Yeah.
It's not my number 1. My number 1's got to be the most entertaining. Sorry. Favorite Super Bowl. That was a great pick, Trell.
Mine was easy. Mine's Super Bowl 32. Elway getting his first Super Bowl. It's been my favorite player since I was little.
Elway Favre. It's one of the best ones ever.
And it was a great game.
It was an amazing game.
Green Bay letting them score. Thinking they were gonna get the ball back, and Favre would go down and score, and he throws the interception. And Elway was 0-3 at that point. It was. I was hoping he was going to retire then and just go off, and then he came back and won the following year again. But that's hands down for me. Watching, being older too, because I was like 7, 8, 9 years old when Denver went when he was younger in his career. So being older and actually like being able to watch it and grasp it was definitely number 1 for me.
That was a great game. One of the best ever. That was on my list. That was probably 2nd or 3rd.
I think up until that point, I think that was the biggest. I think somebody passed it, but that was the biggest upset spread-wise up until that point.
Giants. I think the Giants passed that.
They might have, because New England, the
Giants,
New England,
yep.
because Green Bay was heavily favored to win that football game.
I went 2 ways on this one. Okay. The most entertaining Super Bowl I've ever watched in my entire life outside the Eagles Super Bowl was the Malcolm Butler.
Yep.
Malcolm Butler intercepting Russell Wilson at the 1 yard line. That Super Bowl was incredible. I hate both teams. So, like, I can't be my favorite. So, like, it's up there. It's really close. But I got to go with the 1 yard line stop. Rams Titans, 1999. Like, the 1 yard line stop. Oh, my God. That was such an incredible football game. That was a football game for people that love football. It had offense. It had defense. It had a stop at the 1 yard line, reaching for the goal line. I mean, what more can you ask for? And I if I'm not mistaken,
I wanted Tennessee to win that game too.
So did I. But if I'm not mistaken, was that the same year at Wycheck, or was that the next year? You know what I'm talking about, the Wycheck versus Buffalo in the wild card game?
Music City Miracle.
Yeah. Was that the same year, or was that the next year? It's really close. But the Titans had like a great run. They had an awesome defense.
I feel like that was actually before the Super Bowl year. I could be wrong though.
It was Doug Flutie. It was, oh my God.
Nope, it was the same year.
Same year.
Yep.
That was an incredible run from the Titans, and it was a great. Jeff Fisher's only shot at Super Bowl, but kidding. But Jeff Fisher's most overrated coach ever. Get off that topic. All right, that's our picks for Super Bowls. Let's go into Super Bowl predictions for the game. Give me your picks, Cottrell. If you have 1, 2, I don't care.
I'm gonna go with Kansas City covering the spread. It's at 3. For me, I feel like that just means Kansas City's going to win the game, and I wholeheartedly believe Kansas City wins the game. I got the score as 31-21 Chiefs.
Okay. 31-21 Chiefs. Chiefs -3. What's yours, Bill?
I think Kansas City wins the game. I think it's a very close game, and I think Tampa Bay covers. I think it's going to be under. I don't know why. I think everybody thinks it's going over, and I think both defenses will play well enough to maybe keep it under or be very close. So I'm somewhere like 27-24, something like that, 30-27, somewhere in there.
What's the first half under? I looked at it earlier. I want to see what exact is because I really want to make sure it's right.
Let's see here. First half
under.
I mean the 20s.
First half total 28.5.
I like the under in the first half.
A lot, yeah.
I love the under in the first half. I obviously have to pick the Chiefs because I like them and -3, and I feel like I'm falling into that trap or whatever. And I lean the under 55.5. I like a lot.
Is it down to 55?
55.5.
Wow.
When the public is betting on the over and it's moving down to entice more people to bet on the over,
yep.
You know what you're looking at.
I got in at 56.5, so quite happy about that.
You got the under 56.5?
Yep.
See, it's trending down.
Yeah, it opened at 57.5.
See, this is what I mean. If the public is on the over and it's moving down, I think the rain is helping that. Could be the rain and they don't want to take a bath on the under, but I don't. I like the under. I'm going the under 55.5.
Yeah.
Me too.
Who's your pick for Super Bowl MVP, guys? All right, we'll give one more. I'm going to go with the obvious one, Patrick Mahomes.
I think it's probably going to be a sweep if we all got the Chiefs winning. But, I mean.
I would agree. If they win, I mean, for him not to win it, somebody would have to have
it would have to
an
go
enormous game.
Tyreek Hill, 8 catches again, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Or Kelsey scores like 4 times. Like, it's going to have to be something like that to get away from Mahomes.
Ball?
Yeah, but
like that's the issue with a receiver.
It's going to have to be something wild.
But at the same time, though, think about I know it's different levels, but like the national championship game, Mac Jones had crazy numbers, but because Devonta Smith's numbers were crazy as a receiver,
that's fair.
I think I could see Hill or Kelsey winning it. I just think they're going to have a special game.
Yeah,
like they would have to dominate.
So we're all going Mahomes.
Yep.
What's it? Mahomes is probably -150 too, which makes it even worse.
He might be more than that.
Can't be. It's that much more than that.
You summed it up perfectly. Like, if they win the game, if you're assuming the Chiefs win the game, then he's probably your MVP.
I want to see more score predictions, Mike. If you keep putting them up all show, I'd love it. Guys, if you haven't given your score prediction for the game, put it in there and we'll put it up. And we're going to take a little bit more conversation on the wire line. If you guys want to make your comments, we had a lot to go over NFL-wise, though. Like, I couldn't wait to go over it. Old man Brady MVP, Tiny. Tiny's been all over the Bucks. Just to be clear, she's been all over the Bucks.
Got a shot, dude.
I mean,
Everybody's got a shot.
And
Don't leave the fence. Give me solid.
I told you. I think they cover. I think it's a last possession game. I really do.
So, are you betting Bucks +3?
Yes.
Woo! And you're
tight.
rooting for the Bucks to win the game.
I don't need them to win. I don't need them to win.
Yeah, but you're rooting for them the way. If you bet Bucks +3, you better be rooting for them the whole game.
I can root for them to win for the last till the last 3 seconds of the game and lose by 1.
That's fair.
Okay. Listen, there's part of me like this will be a discussion we'll have for a different show because I thought about this the other night, but it's a big topic. But I don't think some people do because I've seen other people talk about it. How lucky, like even Cottrell, like how lucky our generation has been with players. Like you pretty much can go across the board. Baseball's the only one that you're gonna have like a big argument with or a discussion or debate. But you've seen the greatest player in every other sport play in our generation.
I mean, when you say our generation, I'm guessing you're including Gretzky, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's fair.
He played
Gretzky.
He played late '90s. So
Gretzky,
yeah.
I'm with. The other two, I don't think I'm lucky to watch a cheater and a crybaby. And that's the way I look at Tom Brady and LeBron James. Just calling it like it is. Tom Brady's a cheater. Got caught twice doing it. And LeBron James is a crybaby. And I don't think he's the greatest either. I think Michael Jordan is. And I guess that's Jordan.
You watch Michael Jordan.
That's fair. Imagine this game goes. Imagine this game was 28-21.
Listen,
Johnny
I
Brissett.
think there's a shot it happens, and that's.
I'll say two things. You probably high chance you won't see a player get a quarterback 10 Super Bowls again in his career, like during our
100%.
lifetime. And then the other thing is you probably won't see a player go to 8 straight NBA Finals again in our lifetime.
You're absolutely correct.
So I'm with Bill on that aspect.
That's fair. I just don't like either one of the players. You're not good for me to root for.
I got you.
7. If he wins those 7 Super Bowls,
bro, if he wins this year, in my personal opinion, this will be the second greatest Super Bowl he's ever won.
What's one? The first one? Yeah.
Because he was a backup, came in, they beat the Gray Show on turf.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to argue that. So that's probably where I would have it.
MVP odds, Patrick Mahomes is at -120.
That's close.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I thought it'd be worse, to be honest.
If you're picking, so it's funny. If you're picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, it might be a better pick for you just to bet Patrick Mahomes win the MVP.
Yeah.
You're getting better odds than -155, -160.
Yeah, I mean, if you're putting that in any kind of like parlay or anything, it's going to boost your odds big time. I mean,
let's do it. Same game all day. I'm throwing a huge same game in.
I'm going to put something just stupid.
Why not? Let's go make $100,000.
Like $10 wins like $240,000.
Let's go make $100,000. All right, guys. It's 10:05. We got 2 more topics to get into. We got to wipe our hands of Super Bowl. It's a fun Super Bowl conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and Bill got a little passionate there for a little bit. That was fun. I love getting him riled up.
I'm good.
It's fun. All right. Talk about baseball for a minute. Huge trade.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Other trade.
What?
Staffy.
Oh, yeah. Jesus. We still got more football.
Not enough football.
See, Bill doesn't want more football. So, Stafford, Jared Goff. I want to get your quick thoughts on that trade, and I'll tell you. So, we're going to have Philly flair to this because we're national sports with a Philly flair. That's what we are. It's who we've been.
Oh, can we not talk about Carson tonight? Please.
It's going to be a little Carson.
Because I've been arguing it all day with idiots.
No, it's fine.
All right.
It's going to be a little bit small thing.
All right.
I want you to give me your take on the trade, what you think happened, and then I want you to tell me whether this trade helped Carson Wentz's value or hurt it. So
I'll start, I guess.
Fine.
I definitely think that the Lions won this trade. It was a situation where they got 2 first-round picks, they got a 3rd rounder, and then they got a bridge quarterback. So it puts them in a position where they don't have to get a quarterback this year at 7. They can, go best player available. The Lions are in a really bad position right now roster-wise. So I definitely think that they won the trade, and this is definitely a John Dorsey deal. Like, if I were you guys, I'd be upset that you let this man out the door because you probably would have got some sort of package like that for Carson Wentz had he still been there. That's the only part I'll give in on Carson Wentz. Before the Rams, though, it definitely makes them better, and this is also probably going to make them a really big contender for the Super Bowl. You got a quarterback that's capable of making the play in the bowl, so it's definitely going to be a boost for the Rams, but The problem though is that if you don't win the Super Bowl, then this trade was terrible for the Rams. Like it's Super Bowl or bust because of how much you gave up. So, I would definitely say the Lions won this trade, but the Rams got better and it puts them in a good position to get to the Super Bowl.
Bill, what do you think?
I'm pretty much on the same boat. I mean, Detroit is in full like pull the pin, load up, like let's rebuild from the bottom up. And they got a bunch of good stuff to help them do that. The picks, they have more cap flexibility. They have a guy they can throw back there and get murdered for a couple years that nobody cares about. The Rams definitely increase their chances of winning the Super Bowl, but they are, with what they gave up in the picks and everything else, if they do not win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, this trade was an absolute bust, because they are going to be in the same spot to where, with the cap situation they're in, with what they're paying some of these guys and what they're going to have to re-sign guys at, they're going to need the draft to fill in a lot of big gaps and big holes on that team, and you can't realistically think you're going to hit on every 5th, 6th, and 7th round pick you pick to come in and start and be a very quality NFL level player. So if they do not win the Super Bowl in the next couple of years, it's kind of a bust for the Rams, and they're going to have to blow it up too. I mean, you're going to see a lot of guys leave that team via trade and stuff like that. But I mean, you're in the NFL. You play to win the game. I remember, it's like you said, if you win a Super Bowl, this year and then suck for the next 2, it doesn't matter. You won the Super Bowl. In regards to Carson, I think makes Carson's value go up. Stafford is dramatically older. I think.
So you're comparing him to the Stafford end of the trade.
It's one of those things where it doesn't necessarily set Carson's market, but it ballparks what you can expect to get back, and what a team that is, a quarterback away, like Indianapolis or something like that, what they have to be willing to part with now to think you're going to land somebody like him. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. I think it's going to take a lot, and that's why I don't think Deshaun's leaving Houston either. Because if you got that for Stafford, I can't imagine what Houston's asking for now.
2 first, 2 second, 2 young defensive players is what the report said.
And I think that's probably gone up now.
So yeah, probably no, that was just after that. It was like literally a week ago, but not even. So I'll give you a couple different things. Phil Galone on the wire line. I still believe in Wentz. Let's see the difference with a new coach. I wouldn't trade Wentz. Well, Phil, I agree with you. I do. Let me just address the elephant in the room here. The trade was perfect for both football teams.
Yeah.
East Coast Gridiron Podcast, my man Dante Sell put something up maybe about 10 minutes ago. He said the Rams win the Super Bowl next year, and I will be throwing my cold hard cash on the Rams to win the Super Bowl next year. I think this trade makes the Rams a no doubt about it favorite to win it all. I do. I think it's such a huge upgrade quarterback. I think McVay doesn't have to reel in Matt Stafford like he did Jared Goff. I think the innovativeness and the defense is not going to get that much worse. Like, they're not going to lose many players. I think the Rams win the Super Bowl next year, and I'm going to put money on it 100% as soon as the odds come out.
I think you got to see where a lot of other people go and kind of how everything else shakes out.
That's fair, but I want to hit the odds as early as I can.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, they probably already dipped. So
the problem is that we know the Super Bowl stopper isn't going anywhere anytime soon,
and I think that's the worst matchup for him. Is that defense and Matt Stafford on that offense with that offensive innovation? Because that Chiefs, he said it perfectly, and that Chiefs defense isn't getting better. You get that Mahomes offense kicked. Mahomes contract kicks in. That offense is going to stay good. Mahomes contract kicks in next year.
$40 million.
And that defense is not getting better. They better hope they hit on draft picks.
Yeah.
And I'll be as clear as I can with you. That will be the Super Bowl stopper for Mahomes.
Well, the bigger issue becomes after next year, because Hill's up after next year.
Yeah, I think
and he's going to get paid.
He is. And I think that Patrick Mahomes, if he wins one this year, I don't think he three-peats. It's very tough to do that.
It's hard to repeat, other than three-peat.
Yeah, and I think that I really, truly believe that the Rams win the Super Bowl next year. As far as Carson's value, I think it goes down. Let me tell you why. If I'm looking at those two quarterbacks, I seen one, Matt Stafford was a little overvalued, and Jared Goff was a little undervalued. it showed you how much money and how many picks and how much it took. And I don't think it was the picks all had to do with to get Stafford. I think they would have sold Stafford for cheaper. I really do. I think because they took Goff with it and the contract that Goff has, that's why the Rams basically had to pay to get rid of Jared Goff.
I think. Oh, you had something else?
Yeah, a little bit. Go ahead. Let me hear your point.
I was just going to say, I feel like if Detroit was in a situation where they were going to get rid of Matthew Stafford, I mean, they have no other quarterback of note on the roster. So I think bringing in Jared Goff, while it may have been a salary dump for the Rams, I also think it was, I mean, you get a young bridge guy and dependent,
they could just pick Justin Fields.
Yeah, but is Justin Fields going to be there at 7? Do they want to spend so much capital to move up? Like, there's just so many unknowns with that.
You're going to pick him at 7 and get him murdered his first 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're not going
or is he even going to be there at 7? Like, you may have to give up like another first-round pick. The ones you just got for Staffy, you may have to give that up just to move up to get a guy like Justin Fields.
There's so many quarterbacks in this draft. You're talking about 5, 6 guys going in the first round.
Yeah, but if the problem, though, is if it's not your guy, though, you don't want to just settle because, the quarterback is there. You want to draft your guy. So if the Lions pick was Justin Fields and they didn't want to give up the capital to get him, I think getting Jared Goff makes sense, and then you wait it out till next year and you get your guy.
I agree 100%. You don't want to burn some of the stuff you just got back to move up and get, if Fields is your guy, to move up and get him, and they're still going to be a terrible football team. Like, you don't draft him and throw him to the Wolves for the first 2 years. You
especially
can't do
Kenny Galladay going.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all.
Yeah, you can't do it. You just can't do it.
So let me finish my Wentz point.
Okay.
If you're comparing Wentz to one of these two quarterbacks, you have to compare him to Goff. As much as I hate that, and I know Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Jared Goff, you have to compare their careers. They're almost identical. They both have that magical Super Bowl run year. Wentz got hurt with his. Nick Foles won the Super Bowl. Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl, laid an egg. Which one was worse, the injury or the laying the egg in the Super Bowl? Both of them were bad. Both of them had regressions and played worse. Both of them were number 1, number 2 picks, and both of them are the same age.
Jared Goff has less of an excuse, though.
Yes,
he's played on the way better team and the way better offenses than Carson Wentz.
They have almost the same contract. They're almost the same age.
I get all that, but you have to factor everything. Are the Eagles making the playoffs last year with Jared Goff?
No.
That's my point. Carson's a way better
there's
quarterback.
There's a lot of people in NFL circles that were still arguing Jared Goff better than Carson Wentz this year, and Carson Wentz played terrible this year.
That's because he played terrible this year. If he played like he did last year, it's. I still don't think it's a debate.
Do you think 2019 he had a great year? Or do you think he had a great last 4 games?
Statistically, it wasn't as good as 17 or 18, but it was
an awful year statistically.
Yeah.
But my question is, did he have a great year or did he have a great last 4 games?
In a great last 4 games.
And that's the point.
Yeah,
he
but
played
Goff's
12 bad games. Not bad games, but not
but Goff's played way more bad games with Robert Woods, with Cooper Kupp, with all those people. Carson's never had that.
I agree with you. And that's why I think Carson Wentz is a better player than Jared Goff. But if you're comparing, so if you're saying who's close, Cottrell, outside, I know that you've been in the Carson Wentz camp a little bit, but if you're comparing one versus the other, do you think Carson Wentz is closer to Jared Goff as far as value-wise or Matthew Stafford?
I think for me it would have to be Stafford just because of it's more so about the upside of Wentz. Wentz is a guy who's still relatively young. I mean, what is he, 26, 27 years old? So he's still young.
I think he turns 28 this year.
He's still a young quarterback, and you've seen him be MVP caliber. So I think you have a lot of value in a team who's going to, they want a quarterback to get them over the edge. And Wentz is a guy who's been in the MVP discussions when he's been playing well. And you get weapons around him, you get him in the right system. That's a guy who can be your franchise quarterback. I don't think there's anyone in the league who's thinking right now that, maybe the Lions aren't sold on Jared Goff and we could bring him in and he can be our franchise guy. Like, teams are looking in other directions, but I feel like with Carson Wentz, teams are looking at him like he can be our guy, especially if we can get him at the right price.
I mean, to that point, too, which is another great point, Goff's had every opportunity in the world to show he's the franchise guy with that team. That dude's had weapons around him since the day he came on that team, and he hasn't gotten it done. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that if you put Carson on the team like that, which if he gets traded, He's probably going to one of a handful of teams that have very good weapons. I think you're going to see a different guy. I think you're going to see the guy that everybody thought he was in 17, 18.
Sorry, the troll checked in.
I know.
Bro, Wentz has had Alshon and JJ.
Alshon.
The troll checked in.
He's quickly becoming one of my most hated Philadelphia people ever.
We'll dissect that trade a little bit more in the upcoming weeks. We're 10-17. We got to move into our next couple topics. The trade that heard around the MLB world, Nolan Arenado. And Colorado, the only thing that's worse than the press conference explaining the Nolan Arenado trade was the Nolan Arenado trade.
True.
That was terrible. They
I
paid 2 years into an 8-year deal. Jesus.
They paid a ton of money.
Did you hear what their GM said? Did you listen to that press conference?
I did.
He's like, yeah, we had no other choice. He didn't want to be here. Why not stop surrounding one of the best players in baseball with a bunch of stiffs and make him want to be there?
It's him and
terrible.
Trevor. It's him, Trevor Story, and a bunch of bums.
If you're going to trade him, why not get more for him and not pay
they didn't get
$40 million?
I think they paid 50.
It's 50. It's $50 million.
$50 million.
Yeah, it's insane.
I told you, like, granted, there was no minor league baseball last year, but then 4 of the 6 kids in that trade, they're not top tier prospects. They didn't play organized baseball last year. Like, those kids took a whole
One of the kids played softball with us.
He might have.
I'm kidding.
That was wild. I would have died if Zach was in that trade.
But my point being is that was the type of player that was in that trade, and the Cardinals made that trade.
Listen, he signed that extension. He was smart. And this is a whole just wormhole I'm not going to go down, but he pretty much told Colorado exactly what Scott Rowland told the Phillies. And we turned Scott Rowland into a villain because that's what Philly sports media does. He signed his extension and said, build this team around me, because if not, I put this opt-out clause in my contract, because if you don't do it, I'm going to opt out and I'm leaving. He told them that. That is part of the reason they had to do what they had to do, and he said he didn't have no choice, because if they let him play through the year, he was going to opt out and he was gone.
But why would you eat $50 million when you can sign $50 million worth of players? For those 6 prospects, you're paying $50 million?
Again, this kind of like the football thing.
That's my point. That makes no sense.
St. Louis, we're going to take them and we'll give you these 6. Listen, that was probably the best asking price, because again, everybody know there was no.
That can't be the best asking price.
There was no secrets.
You have to wait until that
There was no secrets in what was going on there. Like, if you're another team, are you gonna inherit that whole contract? Especially if you're in between, or do you wait a year and be like, I can sign my own contract next year and keep all my kids? He was at 100. There was short.
We see this happen all the time in MLB, though.
Listen,
trade that line all the time.
I think
this all started with the GM when he said what he said in the offseason, and that automatically, from that point forward, this wasn't even like Arenado was like, we'll see. He was like, we win now or I'm out. He publicly said it. There was no maybe we can keep him. We'll wait till he comes to spring training. We'll talk to him. He's like, now or I'm gone. There was nothing. There's nothing hidden here. He told him, "I'm leaving." Pretty much.
Coloradoville.
I feel like though, if you kept him until at least mid-season, the asking price is definitely going to go up, because Nolan Arenado is one of those guys that can definitely make your team go from not middle of the road, but playoff contender to almost
World Series
MVP? Favorites. He's that caliber player. So I think they could have waited and gotten more for him.
You're not going to get that much for a midseason rental. You're not. And the other problem you have is then you get a team that makes a run somewhere he might not want to go. You trade him there, and obviously, he'll try to help you win, but there's no guarantee that he stays. St. Louis is the top 2 or 3 baseball market in the entire league. They treat their players I promise you, when there won't be fans, but the first time they have fans, he comes up to bat, he will absolutely get a standing ovation before he even does anything.
Yeah.
They are some of the best baseball fans. It is.
Yeah. To that though, I feel like Nolan wants to win though. So if the team is winning and they have enough money to sign him, Nolan probably would stay as long as they're winning. It seems like that's what he's all about at this point.
It is, but you're still risking him getting traded to
He also doesn't want to risk his entire career playing in Colorado. I don't know why he signed that deal to begin with, but I guess it worked out for him.
Because originally they told him that they were going to build around him. I mean, the curious thing, is now, do they totally blow it up? I mean, if you're Trevor Story, you got to be like, get me the hell out of here. Like,
Right.
there's no way I want to stay here and be a
Trevor
part of
Story's
this.
a top 3 shortstop in baseball. I think he's third. I have him third. I won't be out of rank 1, right?
Yeah, ugh.
I know, I agree, but
he's in that discussion for
But
sure.
who would be your one?
It's Lindor for me.
yeah, I 100%. Why are we arguing that?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I don't know how the hell
You
they
know
had.
I'm a big Frankie fan.
Didn't they have Lindor 4?
No, I think he was 3 behind
That's a
Tatis
joke.
and Story.
The Tatis thing is absurd.
Yeah, it is. He's probably 6th. We'll get into that list of different
Listen, we're gonna do a bunch of that for everybody. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna do a position a week. So I don't want to go too far into that.
Yep.
But yeah, good for St. Louis, man. That's all I can say. I mean,
What do you think
good for
about Didi signing back with the Phillies?
it's a good move for us. 2-year deal. Not crazy.
Team friendly.
Yeah, not crazy money.
Yeah.
At this point, that was the best you were going to get at the shortstop position.
Did you hear about the JT deal? By the way, sorry, you're right. But did you hear about the JT deal, how they deferred like $10 million? Is Middleton broke?
I don't
Not broke, but I mean, it was broke for a billionaire. But like, he's deferring money? This sounds like the Mets situation with Bobby Bonilla.
No, I'll tell you who does this a lot is Washington, actually.
They defer money?
Like I think Scherzer and Strasburg deferred like $100 million of their contracts to the end. Like,
Is it a retirement plan?
yeah, it's like the Bobby. No, seriously, it's like the Bobby Bonilla plan. Like what? Like they're getting paid like $5 million to like the year like 2040. Like no BS.
That's
like
so insane.
it is.
It feels like you're broke. It feels like, and then lying about the $2 billion. I lost $1 billion, and it was like 140 million. Like
It was like 300, but yeah, I mean it's
it's a lot of money. But
listen, the stakes have been raised in this division. We cannot go back to trying to penny pinch, and that this division's too good.
yeah,
Washington's good. The only thing Washington's going to have, they are going to have a little turnover with their pitching eventually. But the core of that team is young. I mean, Soto's freaking 21. I mean, those guys aren't going anywhere.
he wins the MVP this year.
You're way higher on Soto than I am.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's great. I
I think it's either him or Acuna. I really believe that.
It's gonna be Mookie Betts.
Okay.
But and now you got douchebag Cohen in New York, who just is gonna spend money like it's nothing. So
You want to think about that. That guy, he might have to step down being.
he should. He's a scumbag.
Oh my God. A
Again,
couple different real
I
bad-
can't wait till
real
we have
bad
like our
things.
like Major League Baseball preview show.
Yeah.
And Atlanta's Atlanta. I mean, they're again, Acuna is another. He's a top 10 player in the game, and he's 22 years old. I mean, he's not going anywhere.
Acuna's unbelievable.
He's really good, and he's already a Philly killer, which drives me nuts.
Yep.
He's probably
And he
hitting
runs his
600.
mouth. He is such a shit talker.
The only good thing about Acuna is you have like he still has that like showboat in him, and he like dog stuff and doesn't run shit out,
Yep.
and he's still got a little bit of that in him. So,
But he's young, though.
yeah,
What does that mean?
Young.
would be-
I mean, you grow from that eventually is what.
I get
is
it.
what
some people do, some people don't.
that's
So-
also true.
We college basketball. We got to move on. College basketball. What I really want to do is this is our first time bringing up college basketball, and before it gets too late, I want us all to give our 1 seeds, who we think are going to be the 1 seeds going into the NCAA tournament. This is obviously projections a lot. I think a lot can change. There's nothing set in stone, but we've watched a lot of college basketball recently. We talk about it every night. We really haven't talked about it on this show because there's been bigger topics. But we're gonna have a lot of college basketball talk the next couple months, and I cannot wait to get more and more in this because this is a great college basketball season. This is such a fun. You're not going to see any of the blue bloods.
Yeah. There's
Like
no-
if you're
no
if you're a
frontrunner.
casual college basketball season, this is the season to get into it.
There's an outside shot, and none of the three that make it.
The blue bloods.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think North Carolina's going to get in, but I mean, depending on how they play
How
down
do
the
you see
stretch,
North Carolina at 12? How many people are going to pick them in 12-5 upset, thinking that they're good and they're not?
they're playing a lot better now than they were a month ago.
Yeah.
Though. I think
Until yesterday with Clemson.
Clemson's weird, man.
I know.
Uh,
So give me your 4 1 seeds and then give me a little tidbit of why.
So my 4 are going to be Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, and Nova.
it hurt your hole to say that, didn't it?
It's not normally I'm big on Nova. This year I don't love them. I just kind of think that they're I mean, they got somewhat of an easier role than other people. Like I like Texas more than them, but they're in the same conference as Baylor. I like Illinois, I like Iowa, I like Ohio State, but they got Michigan in their conference. If you don't win your conference, chances are you're probably not going to be a 1 seed. So that's, I mean, I really like Gonzaga. We'll get into it later down the road, but I know they're undefeated right now. I just don't have them as my favorites. If it was Gonzaga or the field, I would lean towards the field. And then Baylor, I mean, we see what this Baylor team can do. Baylor was really good. We saw them play that Texas team last night. They played them hard, and Texas is one of the best teams in the country. So, Baylor's legit. Honestly, if it was anyone in that top 5, I probably would lean with Baylor being my favorites.
Okay. Bill, give me your 4 1 seeds.
Gonzaga, obviously, Baylor, Michigan, and Nova. I'm the same. I had Houston until they absolutely shit the bed tonight against East Carolina. I still like Houston a lot, though. Houston is going to be a bad number 2 seed for whoever gets them in their bracket. This is not a team you're going to play. They play tournament style ball. They're very, very good defensively. They have a couple bigs that can score when needed, and they have good guards. Villanova is kind of the outlier here. It's not a typical Jay Wright team where they have like one kid that's just amazing. They can shoot though. It's a typical Jay Wright team in that they have 3 guards that can all shoot. They're just not as flashy as they usually are, but they're good. They played a lot less games than anybody else too, so we got to see how they're going to come down the stretch because they're going to play a lot more basketball than anybody else because they've been paused a couple times.
I don't like Nova at all, and they're getting spanked by St. John's right now.
Are they? There you go.
Michael Robert Lafferty just added that. I seen that right. They're losing by 15 in the second half. And I'm a Nova fan, by the way, just to be clear. I like Nova.
This Gonzaga team, I think, is the best team he's had in a while. Like, they are legit. Again, I think unless something crazy happens, I do think they make the Final Four. I think Baylor's the best team in the country.
Okay.
I've said it from early on.
Can we get a Zags Baylor final? That would be great because we were supposed to see that game earlier in the season.
Yes, and it got postponed.
Yeah.
You saw it last night against a very good Texas team at Texas.
Texas tested them.
They did. They got close a couple times, and every single time they had an answer. They have
Baylor's
5
deep, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They have 9 players that play.
They are amazing defensively. They're long. They're athletic. They are hard to shoot over. They are hard to out rebound, and they have guys that can score. They are a very good basketball team. If I had to pick a team right now to win the national championship, it would be Baylor. I think Michigan's very good. They're a team. They're deep. They play 10 kids every night. They can shoot from the outside. Hunter Dickinson was a big freshman recruit they got this year, who's been way better than they thought he was going to be earlier than he thought he was going to be. He's been amazing. They have a great inside-out game. They have Isaiah Livers. Be a first-round draft pick next year. It's going to be good. I mean, I do think I think Baylor is probably the closest thing you have to a dominant team this year. But I think it's a wide-open tournament, and I think you're going to lose. Everybody's going to pretty much be sequestered in Indianapolis, so it's going to be a faster tournament. There's not going to be the big layoffs like there usually is. You're not going to have
which plays to a Baylor team that's deeper.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you have a deeper team, if you can play, especially in college, which is huge, if you can play 8 or 9, 10 kids confidently, you're going to have a big advantage going into the tournament. It's just, again, you're not going to have the travel, you're not going to have the week off in between games, so forth and so on.
I'm going to go Zags, Baylor, Michigan, Houston. I know Houston lost and laid an egg tonight, but so did Villanova. They didn't lose yet, but I think they're going to. I think Houston's a better team. I think anybody that has Villanova ranked above Michigan, because they're ranked 3rd and Michigan's 4th, isn't watching Villanova basketball this year. I'm a Villanova fan. I would love to see them make the Final Four. I would love to see them win the tournament. They're not winning the tournament, guys. I'm sorry. I know. I love Villanova. I rooted for them for both national championships. They have 3, but I wasn't alive. I was one alive when they had the first one. I love Villanova. I love Jay Wright. I don't like this team this much. I love the way Houston plays defense. And, Bill, you talked about it earlier with me on the phone. Houston just got to really hope they do not get an official crew that's ticky-tack on the fouls. They play aggressive defense.
They are. You come over half court, we're going to play man to man, and they're in your face. And you saw tonight. Judge, look at the stats. If you get that crew that is not going to let you play a little bit of physical basketball, then they get in trouble.
I agree. But if they get that crew that can, they can beat anybody, including Baylor and Gonzaga. Me and Kitchar are going to have a fun bet. He doesn't know about it yet, but I'm telling him about it. You have a bold prediction that you didn't talk about on the show yet, right?
Or what's
college basketball team not making the Final Four. We talked about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is the fun bet we're going to make. Nothing crazy. Something just me and you. I've lost both of them, so I got to win one. Gonzaga wins it all.
Okay.
Or doesn't make the Final Four.
Okay.
If anything else happens,
just a wash.
It's a wash.
Okay.
I'll take Gonzaga to win it all. You take them not making the Final Four. We'll figure out something. We're not going to make any crazy bet.
Right.
But I think that's a fun bet for us to make because that's your bold prediction, right?
Yep.
Gonzaga not making the Final Four.
The thing with Gonzaga is I think they're a super talented team. My issue is what lets me down year in and year out is you have the talented freshman that's leading the team, and everyone plays well. And then there's that one game where you're going up against a team that's talented, and the freshman is good, but he's not good enough to get the team over the hump. And I just got a feeling that's going to be the case with this Gonzaga team.
That's perfectly fair. We got to wrap up. We'll talk a lot more college basketball in the upcoming weeks. Did you guys do an Are You Got to Be Kidding Me this week? You have one?
I do.
All right.
I do.
Yeah, give me one, Control.
So mine is the whole, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a situation in Brooklyn. Well, I think it was actually in Washington. But Bradley Beal was going up against the Brooklyn Nets, and it was, the game really wasn't going their way for pretty much the majority of the game. Bradley Beal was disinterested. You would see, I saw a video where he was literally just standing in the corner. There was timeouts called. He was sitting on his bench. Teams all huddled up together. They're calling plays and everything in there. Bradley Beal's just, looking around, seeing what's going on. But to his credit, unlike James Harden earlier this year when he was pouting and whining about the Rockets' play, Bradley Beal stepped up in that game. Down the stretch, he hit a big shot to put him down 2 before Russ got the steal and hit the 3 to ultimately get them to win the game. But before that, though, Bradley Beal, you were crying. You were just you weren't necessarily crying, but you were just getting out the way. You didn't really want to be there. So for that, you got to be kidding me this week.
Come on, you got to be kidding me.
Charlie, Scholastic.
I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if people are following this whole Green Bay thing going up there with him. I'll be short and sweet this week. Stop crying. Every time something goes wrong in Green Bay, it's everybody's fault but Aaron Rodgers. You want to be considered a GOAT. You want to be considered, one of the best ever. You want to get out of Brett Favre's shadow, blah, 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 blah. You had 1st and goal from the 9-yard line, and you didn't get it done. And you didn't get it done for nothing anybody else did. You didn't get it done because you had 3 shitty plays in a row. Now it's, now he's, you got his old lineman on, that's still his friend on TV saying he's going to make them pay. He's still pissed off about Jordan Love being drafted behind him. Well, how's that sound familiar? You had 3 plays to get it done and you didn't. And every single time Green Bay loses, it's everybody's fault but Aaron Rodgers. You're now 1-4 in championship games. It's time to look in the mirror. Stop crying. Stop bitching about what you do or don't have when you have Devontae Adams, who may be the best receiver in football right now, and you're still complaining about everything. You could have ran the ball. You didn't. You tried to thread a pass between 3 people. It didn't work. Then you trashed the coach in the post-game interview, which was probably right. But you need to start winning. The Aaron Rodgers love gets on my nerves. He's a great regular season quarterback. He has won Super Bowl. So when I hear him mention the same breath as Montana, Brady, Elway, all those guys, not even close for me. You're 1-4 in championship games now. Start winning. Stop bitching. Stop moping. He's a crybaby. All he does is mope around. That's all he's done for 2 weeks now. So for me, this week, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Come on, you got to be kidding me.
For a different show, I'm going to argue with you that Aaron Rodgers and John Elway are not much different. But we'll get into that a different show. Because John Elway was 0-4 in Super Bowls before he won his first. He's won 2 in his entire career, and Aaron Rodgers' career is not over.
He was 0-3.
Let me move forward to you got to be kidding me, has to be the Colorado Rockies organization. How do you, it's just trading Nolan Arenado and then paying them $50 million and then not getting a top tier prospect back? It's a triple whammy. And then listen to the GM in the press conference talk about, well, he was going to leave, so we had to trade him. We really had no choice. You got arguably, if not the best, a top 3 third baseman in all baseball, and you let him go for peanuts? Colorado Rockies organization?
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
That wraps up a fun Super Bowl
It's
week.
probably one of the worst 5 Major League Baseball trades ever.
It probably will be. This is a fun week, Super Bowl week. Guys, anything, last comments you guys want to give before we wrap up?
Score the Flyers game.
I'll rebuttal. I like going at you guys. Are you kidding me? Bill, I'll rebuttal that. Your point. Aaron Rodgers does need to stop crying, but at the same time, he played a great NFC Championship game, so I understand his gripe with some of the things that were going on in it.
To follow that up even more, the previous 2 out of the 3 previous conference championship games that he lost scoring on the last drive. So he scored on the last drive, and then his defense let him down. But regardless,
It's proving my point. It's never Aaron Rodgers.
That's fair. I think Aaron Rodgers is well past Brett Favre at this point. Well.
He's got 2, and he went to 3.
Brett Favre was 1.
So he has 1. He lost. He's 1-1. And Elway was Elway's 2-3 now. That's what he finished his career.
Okay, guys. This has been a fun Wire to Wire episode. I can't wait to continue. Buy merch, t-shirts, dry fit, hoodies, masks. We got it all. Give us a ring. For that, we're signing out for Super Bowl week. It's Wire to Wire. We're out.